years ago, when I was wandering in Israel, I wandered into a market. I think I was in Tel Aviv. And I came across a mug that said, Ein Kafe, Ein Torah, which means, without coffee, there is no Torah. Like many things in Israel, even the most mundane, and I would argue that coffee is certainly not mundane, and the most secular moments, like drinking coffee, you can find a biblical reference. In this case, the reference is made to a famous sentence of Pirkei Avot, also in the same paragraph that Rabbi Mates has referenced earlier tonight. And it reads, Ein kemach, ein Torah, ein Torah, ein kemach. When there is no flour, when there is no sustenance, there is no Torah. And when there is no Torah, there can be no sustenance. Now, many of us certainly understand the coffee pun. With the laughter, I'm sure that I am not alone in saying, man, really don't talk to me until I've had my coffee. Or I really need the coffee in order to do something. Or just this evening, I said to Terry in security, I said, good morning. And it was like 5:30 in the afternoon. Without coffee, many things cannot be done. And without many things being done, some would argue, there can be no coffee. The same is true for this verse in Pirkei Avot. Rambam explains that one Torah helps the existence of the other, flour, and it can help complete it. We are taught that even the rabbis, for whom Torah was their entire life, still actually got hangry and recognized that proper nutrition led to better study. And without Torah study, I'm sure that all of the rabbis would agree with me that the texts, the lessons, and the traditions of Judaism would not become the inheritance that they have become to the following generations. Tonight, in just a few minutes, I'm going to read about a more tangible type of inheritance, that of land. In Parshat Pinchas, God outlines to Moses how the land will be portioned off to tribes and to families once they reach the promised land. I promise we're almost there. We're almost out of the desert. We've been there for quite some time. And then a really amazing thing happens. 5 women come forward and ask Moses, what about me? What about our family? See, Zelophehad died in the wilderness and only had daughters, not sons. And even though men were the only ones counted in the census, which we can talk about another time, Zelophehad's daughters wanted to be a part of this chain of transmission, honoring the legacy of their father who died in the wilderness and continuing the legacy of their family into the promised land. Without land, there could be no family legacy. And with no family legacy, there would be no promised land. Nothing was promised except to Abraham many generations before. Zelophehad's daughters plead their case to Moses, to Eleazar the priest, and to all of what I would call the Vatikim, all of the old men who have been there, who know when to rise, when to sit down, where all the bathrooms are in the sanctuary. When Moses brings this case to God, God responds with one word, ken, yes. But more than that, which we'll read in just one moment, the response actually goes beyond Zelophehad's daughters. So that next time a father only has daughters, there is a precedent that says that they too can inherit their father's land and continue that legacy. The message here is clear. Speak up, because it might go beyond yourself and benefit countless other people. Each of us have the power for our legacy to impact others, both now and in the future. But Rabbi Stephen Kushner takes it just one step further and says that these sisters aren't just making this request to Moses for themselves and the continuity of their family. They're making it for the memory of the past. These sisters recognize the responsibility of holding on to memory, holding on to past, because it is the foundation that their future will be built on. Without the past, there can be no future. And without the future, there can be no past. We forget that when we forget the past, we will repeat it, just like flour and Torah.